I've got a rough idea of where the horizon line is. So what we're going to do is just going to mark off where it will lie, and then we can put the trees in. So we don't want it too strong and too powerful in the background. We just want the idea of distant trees. Alrighty then. And what I'm going to do here to make the shadows is just downward motions. That's too watery. A few downward. I'm going to do around the edge as well, and then just and now across to this side we can put the I'll do it this way, put the horizon line in. I'm not very, I don't have a very steady hand. That looks about okay. Anything we're not happy with we can always deal with later, because we're going to have things in front of it. Okay, and now we can go so it's just a matter it's just a matter of giving the impression of trees in the background. You're not looking for form, structure or anything else. You're looking just to give the impression. Once we've got that impression of the trees, we're done. And I wish this would stay on. Okay, now we'll go again. Would be shadows. To add a bit of something there because it doesn't look quite right. The same there, I can see the line that I first used. Okay, so as you can see there we've got the tree line in the background. What I haven't done yet is just gone across with the brush. I'm going to step across the camera again and then I can just do that. Next what we need to do is set out not set out really, it's we have to mark out where the actual water ends and the land begins. Now we do that by just putting a small amount of white. Okay, so I want it quite wet but not drenched. And all we're doing is just putting a line Now doing that, you can see how it's pushed that back a touch, and it's making it look as though this bit of green here is actually underwater. I should put it more over. I'm going to do the same on the other side. Again, it's purely just can't work out how to do this and how you to see me. So if I stand in front of the camera in there for this, I do apologise. Okay, and as I say, if we've got any strokes that are a bit too heavy, we can always block them out to 98. Okay, now what I want to try and do is give the effect of a misty day, and to do that we want a completely dry brush, quite firm. Okay, so again it's one of my cheap nasty brushes. What we want to do is stab the white with it, and as I showed you earlier, just bounce the white on the palette. Now, and what we want is just a dry brush, and in circular movements you may not see this yet, but as time goes on and the painting progresses, you will see exactly what I'm trying to do here. It's just, as I said, add that touch of mist over the water, but it's an early morning. You've got the mist floating along the water. And you're still on the bank, you can see over the mist towards the distant trees. There we go. I don't know if you can see that properly on there, but as I say, once we get through the next stage, you'll understand what I'm doing with that, and hopefully it'll work out okay. Next step, we have the introduction of the brownie corn that I brought out earlier, and with that we want to mix the land mass that we're going to be doing here, jutting out so we can put some trees there. So for this we want, like I say, the burnt umber, a little bit of Payne's grey just to darken it, a touch of blue, ultramarine blue, and a little touch of white just to grey it down a touch. And that's colour I'm quite happy with. and we're going to have this bit of land just out from about here. So if I put it in, and we can make some grassy areas on it. Just do that before we make a start on the next part. Okay, that's one area done. So I can go in there. The next step is we could do some trees on that. So we'll get that same colour, a much smaller brush, and we'll start off here and we'll just go up. And we're using a spinning stroke, so as I am doing that, as I pull the brush up the canvas, because that gives it its unpredictable where you've putting the paint on the canvas, so you get the different shapes of the branches. And well, you should mix enough paint to do the whole job, and I thought I had. There seems to be quite a lot on that, but unfortunately I've run out. I still haven't quite got the right colour, but never mind. Okay, that's one done. Now I'll give him a little friend. That'll teach me. Don't push the brush, pull the brush. Okay. So now what we need is some leaves on these trees. Okay, I'll be putting the leaves on with this bigger brush that we've been using earlier. And we're going to mix up some fresh paint, and we're going to use some lemon yellow and some Payne's grey. I need this fairly dark. Think about how you want the tree to look. Think about where the branches are going. Obviously if there's a branch going off over here, you don't want all the leaves being on that side. And I know there's only a few branches on here, but when we come back to it later to highlight, there's nothing stopping us putting more branches on. I just need to add a little bit more dark to that because it's not covering up these branches as I'd hoped. There we go. The next thing we can do, we just get, I've got paint all the way up the bristles. Next thing we can do is go over here, the grassy areas. Some grassy areas, more bushes and shrubs. There we go, and once that's done, or rather now that's done, we can add more yellow into the mix. The one colour we don't want to add to this, to make it lighter, is white. White will just make it greyer. It'll make it lighter, but it'll make it greyer more than anything. That's not what you want to do. You want a few shades of green, not 50 shades of grey. Okay, so let's add some more highlights to this. I'm going to have that coloured tree. Looks like a mid colour. And this one next to it, I'm going to have it that touch brighter, because in my mind it's the one, it's stood just behind this one, so it's shadowing that from any light that's coming from over here. You may not be able to see that properly on camera, but let me have a look. There are two different shades of green there. But what I'm going to try and do is get a bit more yellow, pushing to make those leaves pop much more. There we go. Zing. Okay, that's that one done. Next we can do the shrub area, the bushes down here. And what we can also do is the shadows, but that needs to be darker. I'm going to put bits of brown in there as well, just to build up that look.